Any minute now.
I don't believe you.
Welcome to the Backpack Show.
Good
We'll just start
morning.
there. Hey,
Welcome to the Backpack Show, where we bring you insights about success from unusual places.
yeah, we do. Hello, good to see you. Welcome. Sorry,
So you like to tell everybody that I book all the guests, but I don't book all the guests.
you book 90 some odd percent of the
some of the guests, and today was all you. But I'm really excited.
I knew Trudi Roth through writing and connecting and all this stuff that we had done before. I had known her from a whole other world through like Brian Clark's tribes and all that sort of a thing. And then summarily forgot that I knew her, like just completely. And then
Which is not insulting at all. Like, it's definitely good that you brought that up.
Totally good. It's a good start.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching all the Fine Brothers Entertainment stuff back in the day before we all knew. And I'm watching it. And I'm like, wow, I really like that person. Wow, I really relate to that person. Wow, she's really cool. And then it turned out they're the same person. And I had that like, ooh, the world's weird kind of
But
feeling.
I love that she was like, hey, dumbass.
And FICO, we've known each other for years, you stupid shit. I was like, oh, so.
Okay. We're talking about Trudi Roth, creator of the YouTube channel It's the TruStory. And we're also talking with Actors Ground founder Faith Lavon. They're both creators, actors, YouTubers, and I found Trudy's old mom blog.
Yes, you sure did. And Faith is the same. I knew Faith through React, and I think it's possibly just because we're of a certain age. So
you're of a certain age.
I'm older than both of them. What can I say? But you know, there's all these little purple-haired children there, so I responded to them better. And
for people who have not seen the React videos, you might have to explain what they are.
We'll have to get into that. I don't know.
Significance.
This is important, but we're talking about creativity. We're talking about intelligence. We're talking about all kinds of things today. We're talking about spirit and spirituality.
React.
Backpack Show.
Yellow carding you.
And out comes the yellow card for Brogan, and Gorgone just says, you're going down, my friend. Kaboom!
You haven't exactly earned it yet, but I feel like I could take one on account.
I think you just like that button a lot.
I do.
It's my biological father, Steve Brogan.
Stop that.
I just figured out where that came from, and I forget again, but
it was from the book that we read, the Barry Eisenberg novel, Primal Calling.
Right, that's what happened.
Right. So our previous guest, Jesse Eisenberg's dad, Barry Eisenberg, wrote a novel called Primal Calling about a guy who discovers when he's like 18 that he was adopted. And his father, or not adopted, his father is alive. That's it. His father is alive. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
The mom pretended that he was just a random test tube baby kind of thing, that she'd gotten the sperm from a bank. Turned out the dad had a dad.
Right. Anyway.
So,
but that's the premise of the book. So actually, the back cover. Look, Len Joy is here.
Something Barry Eisenberg. That's all we're saying there. And Paul Miller too as well.
Fiction writer. Hi, Paul.
Got a lot of people. Listen, I want to bring them both out.
I want to see Trudi. Let's go.
I think Trudi and Faith will give us. You know, you got to have faith. All right.
Yes.
How many times have people done that? Oh, it is that way. How many times have people done that to you?
I've never heard that ever.
Well, I guess it would be nice if people would stop doing that.
You just started.
I've had one guy in my whole life, one original line. And he came up to me and he said, do you have any faith in us getting together? That's about it.
Oh.
That's the original one. There, I know Kerry's like,
Wow. Do you remember that ad campaign, Kerry is so very?
Yeah.
No.
That was a fun time for me.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
Oh, wait, when you break up with him, is it faith no more?
Oh
my God.
Okay. It's so early for that.
Yeah, these are West Coast people. So let's get into some meat here. Your creators, your actors, your makers. Trudi, a lot more so you're doing writing. Faith, you're like full and, as acty as you can acty be.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
You're still out there making content. So we edged around the Fine Brothers story. I want to talk about it directly for a second, of course.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe that's a good start. Maybe let's start at the demise of what happened in React. Not so much to bring that up, but to say things can happen and you still have a life before, during, and after all of that.
Correct.
Stop with the faith joke.
Yes. Yes. Nothing wrong with a Faith joke.
It's nothing wrong with me at all.
Everything's right.
So
let's start there.
Okay.
Sure, do you want to go?
Yeah, well, okay. So for those of like, I always used to explain React and FB, even YouTube to some extent, to the adults in the room. Like, it's like a dog whistle. Like, the children can hear it. And so this is it's a Fine Brothers it's a channel that they have a bunch of videos, and you've probably seen it like in your Facebook feed. It's like kids react to Led Zeppelin, and they're like, "What's this crap?" And you're like, "Oh no!" Those are React videos. That was the concept of it. So that network is humongous. It has like FBE, which is the Fine Brothers, the guys that started it, has like, I don't know, 16 million subscribers, something.
I like that it's FBE now. Did they shorten it like KFC did when they're like, forget the fried part?
Yeah. They kind of
Kentucky
got that out. So Faith and I were kind of the OG. So they had all these different segments of people reacting to things. And it's always kind of making you look, can I swear on the show? I don't know if I can swear. Like the grown-ups get to look like assholes, kind of. So it's always like, they had kids react and they had elders react. And then about 5 years ago, they added adults react. And so for me, that was a brand new segment. So my son and I used to always watch React together, and he saw that they were having, tryouts. Now, I'm not an actor. I just clarify that.
Do you have an IMDb though?
I do have I'm a writer. The IMDb is for something I wrote. Thank you.
I'm just saying, I research people. Don't try to put nothing by me, girl.
Please report to my mother immediately and tell her I have an IMDb. So anyways, the whole React thing, 5 years ago, and I think Faith joined about the same time, they had tryouts. It was literally filling in a long survey about pop culture. And I am like a grown-ass woman with a 15-year-old boy trapped inside of me. So at the time with a big obsession of Game of Thrones, and they throw at you a lot of stuff. So I got an email that was like, "Hi, you're in." I was like, "I am in? What?" And that was it. And then I was suddenly this on-camera YouTube person. And it was so fun. And from a, lady of a certain age, approaching a half century at the time, that felt amazing. And it was fun. And I got to meet amazing, amazing people like Faith, who is in real life a good friend of mine now. So many good things about it. But like all good things happen. And this past summer, during... Faith will fill in more. During the Black Lives Matter protests, when everything was really coming to a head, the studio said, it's reacting video. So a lot of it's silly and fun. And then they also tackle big issues. So they ask, the Black castmates to be in to do an episode where they talked about very intimate, honest, it's a beautiful episode, actually. And it made me weep. And it was so like, as a white person and an ally, I was so proud at that moment to be a part of something bigger. And then it all went to shit. And then like so many other things that happened this summer that needed to be done. There was one of the women that was in the video was a young girl, 22-year-old woman, Kennedy Zimmett, who's amazing. And she's amazing. Zimmett. She had been on videos before talking about her experience as, a young Black woman in America, et cetera, and had been harassed and stalked to a really scary point. So she reached out to the network, and the network, it was crickets. Now, this was early COVID, right? So maybe you can explain that away. Maybe the person that was supposed to answer the call had been laid off or something. I don't know. But it was inexcusable, honestly.
Yeah.
And then once the episode dropped, people started tweeting at her saying, hey, that the guys that run the network have appeared in blackface. Hey, So all these started coming out on social media.
So that cracked the story open.
The whole thing wide open. And it was also, there was, as it is in the rest of the country, institutionalized racism and also misogyny. There was a lot of people that started coming out saying, hey, women also weren't getting the same opportunities, which is something that, we can talk about more, but like I saw that. I noticed that the female producers, first of all, there weren't any when I started 5 years ago. And then there were a lot of them, but they cycled through quick.
Very,
very quick. And then, but it's sort of like you think you see something and you're not necessarily sure what that's all about. So, you know, and I'm just one of, they have a couple hundred cast members. So anyways, the short of it was, you know, it's like, that's that old thing, like see something, say something. Like I saw something and I didn't say anything until I couldn't look away. And then I walked away. So that's the short of it. So basically when all this started coming out and Faith will talk more about it, I spoke to Faith about it and she was just straight on like out. And it took me a couple days because I'm like, well, maybe I can be that person who affects. And it's like, Faith,
I'll never forget that conversation.
Yeah. Faith and I had a conversation. She said, Trudi, I am not holding a grown ass man's, like, I was like, maybe you can hold their hand and help them see. And she was like, I'm not holding any grown ass man's hand. I'm not holding anybody's anything. Like, you want to make change, you're out. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm out. And so we both left at the same time.
Yeah. Faith, pick up this story for us and give me a sense of, you know, where you were with it all.
No song lyrics for this, Chris?
I've got them all.
If there's a fire you're trying to douse, you can't put it out from inside the house? Really? Nothing? Okay.
I don't know that one. Is that
Hamilton?
Well, I will start with the Black Lives Matter video, which I was really, really excited to be a part of because I just felt like, you know, being able to tell my story of growing up in Kansas. And really, if folks get a chance to actually see that video, it's really, really amazing. And so I was very excited to be a part of it. And I mean, there were other cast members that had said a few things about, you know, trudging up the trauma of that. And which I totally understood. I just thought that, you know, people needed a different perspective because all Black people are not alike and their stories are not all alike. We are all very different people. So I was really excited about that. So when it came out, you know, listen, go see it, hear it, so forth and so on. So I think it was a week later, Kennedy posted something about leaving and the reason why. She had put a letter on Instagram, and I went and I saw it, and I immediately reached out to her and I said, you know what, just give me a couple of hours because I just wanted to really do my research, really look around everything about what was happening. And I tell you, it didn't even take me that long. By the end of that evening, I was like, what? The thing that really got me was that they took so long and responded to Kennedy. Okay, so blackface. Okay, 10 years ago. Okay. That in and of itself should be enough to go by. You know, but people these days, it's almost like it's normalized for that. Oh, they did that. They did that. That's okay. Starting from that particular point, I'm like, okay, but I didn't see an apology even then to everyone, even the staff. It was just, there was no apology. There was no history of that. So I just felt like they've had these chances over and over and over and over again to right themselves, and they just didn't. Not only that, they didn't even apologize to Kennedy. They didn't reach out to her. They didn't say anything to her. She reached out a couple of times about this, and silence. And I just felt like I got kicked in the gut. Like I just got kicked in the teeth. I just did this, you know what I mean? And I love FBE. I love being a part of it. Now I have a different idea about what React was in FBE in my experience because of being an actor. You know, so the idea of being FBE was just, it was fun. It was practice. It was, you know, that sort of thing. So I didn't connect with some of the cast members. Like this is the be all end all of all these, you know, followers, that sort of thing. So, so me going in there, I would see little things and I would take note. But you know, people don't mess with me.
Oh, they don't.
Like I don't get messed with. Like you can try to tangle with me. Oh, good luck.
Short conversation.
But, you know, so I had just this kind of air about me, just a lot of fun, and I really didn't get I wasn't really bothered by necessarily anything. But with Kennedy, I just was like, I got her 100%. Like, this is a moment in time, a moment in history where I need to make a stand. And we're in the middle of COVID and a pandemic. Where else are you going to make a stand? Like, where else are you going to say enough is enough? And I just felt like, you know what, if we all as a group if it's not a mass exodus, this is going to get swept under the carpet. Right. They'll come back around. You know what I mean? If it's not dealt with appropriately, it'll come back around. It's not done. I mean, it's quiet. But,
so,
let
me jump over this for a minute because I realize we also just ate 14 minutes talking about
oh my God.
Talking about the one thing that none of us want to do is give more attention to that story.
We don't.
That's all on me. It's my fault.
Well.
Bad interview question. But it's not you, it's just me. I just asked the wrong question. So let me start again. Here's where I want to start. You were on one of the bigger channels of the internet. You were on one of the channels that trends every single time used to trend every single time a new video came out. Even in this new world where if you were not Megan Thee Stallion or a K-pop band, you'd say goodbye to the trending column. We had Kevin Nolte on, who is one of the absolute OG internet guys who back in the day was top of the comedy heap and who couldn't dent it if he tried right now.
My kids were so like, oh, he was so long ago. Like, they were so snotty about it.
It's the worst feeling.
That happened.
I got even more white in my beard talking to him because it was just like we both had that recognition. Anyway,
realization.
So thank you, realization. Yeah. So what I wanted to bring that up for, and the worst version ever of asking that question was, now what? So Trudi it's the true story. Faith, you're doing other projects. I mean, this has always been like, this is not you because you have this sort of bigger vision of yourself, Faith. But I want to know, how do you take what energy was good from that? How do you take, that feeling of, wow, I had a lot of attention for a bit and now I got to do something different. How do you reset that? I'll start with Trudi.
Oh, well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for starting. Well, I mean, listen, I'm a lady of a certain age. I'm 54. That's the certain age. And, all the stuff, like the lucky break, honestly, was that it forced me way out of my comfort zone. Because very early on, they were like, hey, if you start your own channel, we'll promote you. And I was like, I should have a YouTube channel. What a newfangled, crazy idea for a person my age, where we're usually invisible by this point. We're the invisible person,
Only women.
Only women.
Right. Come on.
Only women.
You better talk about it.
Yep.
Right?
Chris will be going strong when he's 80. He'll be like, go to my new YouTube channel, subscribe and like.
Yeah, love that.
I'll do this there.
It's gonna happen. Wait for it.
So anyways, it pushed me out of my comfort zone, and it made me, this is like, I'm going to loop this back to Chris Brogan moment really quick, which is that many years ago, after I got off the mommy train, like young kids and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to my old job as a marketing person, but everything had changed. Mm-hmm. It was all digital now. And Chris offered a course about this newfangled concept of video on the internet. And I took his class, and it was literally like 15 years ago. And it was expensive for me. So my friend Corinne and I split the cost. Shh, don't tell him. And shared a login. Anyways, that was so long ago.
Invoice incoming.
Yeah. So this whole thing with the, YouTube thing, it forced me to go figure out how to do stuff, like how to have a YouTube channel, how to shoot video, what mics do I need? What cameras do I need? What O-ring do I need to buy? What do I need to do? And I suck. I do my own editing. It's terrible. Go to my channel. The editing is terrible. The lighting is ish. The sound is whatever. But you know what? I have hundreds of videos, and I've been doing it, for the last 4 years. Faith is on a bunch of episodes with me. I get to channel my inner Merv Griffin and put someone on the couch and have a chitty chat, and it's fun. And so that's how I channeled that energy, and that hasn't gone away. I will say I'm pivoting now in my life again. And so we'll see what direction it goes in, because a lot of the fans, the people that are, follow my channel are people from React. So those tend to be young dudes, gamers, who like to see me, I don't know, speed eat a hamburger against my my dog or something. Oh,
They just like to
there's
see
one here. So, anyways, that's my channel. That's a bunch of ladies from React, actually, our friends. So,
That was
and I have fun doing it. So, yeah, you know what? No one's taking that away. You can't take that away from me because
So
now
Debbie, Women's Leadership Live says age is but a number. There are 4 squares and 3 are women, and most here commenting are women. So that's right.
that's right.
We have a lot to say, says Michelle.
That's right, Michelle. Amen, sister.
So there's a lot
I try to
going
make
on
sure
there.
Chris gets airtime. I make
You know, every now and again I can talk. Sometimes I've been told I can. I get my permission slip. So on the one hand, Trudi, you're really digging in and doubling down on video making and all that. And on the other hand, you know, Faith has her off-screen acting and all that sort of a thing. Faith also put out a book, Nobody Knows But God.
Yeah.
And it's only series 1, volume 1. You want to talk to us a little bit about what this book's about?
Yes, I'm so proud of this book for so many reasons, but it's poetry based on events in my life. I never considered myself a writer. But when I started writing poetry, I'm definitely a poet, and I love poetry that reflects oneself in that way versus abstract necessarily. And so my oldest daughter, really, she found some of my poetry sitting to the side in this old book journal that I had started. And she was like, and she is a writer. She's a wonderful writer. And she says, Mom, you should. And so she really encouraged me to finish it. And it was during a time where my marriage was ending. And so I wrote the rest of the book. The first half of the book was already written from like the time I was 18 until, you know, I was and then
older.
I wrote the rest of it. She was like, I just think you need this amount of poems. And so I started writing that, and it is volume 1 because I felt like the first part of that to where I got to now is important. And in that interim part after you get divorced, separated, there's a lot of things that I know for me, I was more relieved. So I had a lot of anger let down, not because the marriage ended, but because I was just so relieved. And so there was a lot of that going on. And then the third one will be on the other side of that. So that's why it's volume 1. And worked really, really hard on it. And Trudi has been such a great support with it. And I was able to go on her show and talk about it. And then because it was in an ebook first, and then got it printed. And so so I'm very, very proud of it. I think that it's such, when people read it, they relate to it so much. I think one person said to me that I wrote how she felt. She could never like really put it into words about how she felt. And so that's probably one of the biggest compliments, because, you know, being relatable to what you write and what you put out there. So, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm endorsing it. You guys.
Chris's dad says, I might not be talking, but I'm nodding my head.
It's beautiful.
It's
a beautiful book.
I'm very proud of it. So, yeah.
Perfect.
But, you know, we were talking about just a little bit earlier about, you know, when in leaving FBE, it wasn't a big shift for me of having the trending thing. I would barely even know that I was trending on a particular episode. I was just having a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. And I just felt like I could really just be myself. And the more I'm myself, the more I just felt like, you know, I don't need to really worry about what people think about me. That's me. I mean, you take it or leave it, right? So,
yep.
So I
hear that.
There.
Yeah, amen, baby.
Well, stick around. We got to do a little bit of sponsor love, but you know, we have a lot more to ask these lovely, smart, wisdom-filled people.
And the guests too.
And the guest. You're a boob. We are sponsored by StreamYard. You could go to cbrogan.me/StreamYard. You could have a show like this up and running in about 8 minutes. It would take you probably 6 minutes to think of the name of the show. Other than that, you're good. cbrogan.me/StreamYard. It is so easy. Kerry brought me into it, and that's why I use it for this show.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. Oh, I love this. You know,
you don't know me.
That's right. You're not my real dad. So it's definitely the thing to make. So, you know, it's also easy because we like easy, evidently. I need 2 more sponsors and I'm going to make them sure they're easy as well. We're sponsored by PubSite.
So if you're an author, you've done the hard work of writing the book, you need a website to promote it or no one's going to find it. So they want to find it, buy it, know about your appearances, know where you are on social media, all the things. So you need a website. But if you're like me, you're not super techie. So try PubSite, pub-site.com. It has all the built-in elements that an author needs for their website. And you can just kind of like change the colors, drag things around. It's really, really easy to use. There's a 14-day free trial. And after that, it's just $19.99 a month. So go check it out. You need an author website. This one is like specifically for authors. And it's so, so good. Powered by FSB Associates.
Also, the sponsors of Person of the Day.
Yay.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring it right back on. We do that really fast. Oop.
I like the noises you make. I sort of prefer the
Sizes.
boop, boop.
The opposite. Come on.
Debbie at Women's Leadership Live says why it's so important people tell their stories. It resonates with someone else's experience. Michelle says makes you feel like you're not alone in the world with what happened to you.
Absolutely.
I had one last super fast comment about Nobody Knows But God, which, by the way, is why you need a website like PubSite, because who knows that your book's out there? Nobody knows but God.
God knows.
I love that it's volume 1 because it just makes me think of the discography of one Sean Carter, who did that as well. You know, he had his volume 1 In My Life, volume 2 Hard Knock Life. He did Life and Times of S. Carter. So
I feel like I'd be cursing myself because then I would never write another one. It would be the only one. It'd be called volume 1. I'd feel like such a jerk.
That's the question. Where's volume 2? Come on, Faith. Where is it? Was volume 2 being written right now?
Yes, I'm working on volume 2 right now, actually. Yes, some good stuff. That's all I can say.
Okay.
I think it would be really fun to
No
turn
spoiler
the corner.
alerts.
Spoiler alert.
I think it'd be fun to turn the corner. Nobody knows but God. Sexy, strong energy. You know,
Right.
like just
That's right.
many degrees.
I like that a
Nobody
lot.
knows
Volume
but
2.
I like that a lot.
Nobody knows
but Faith.
Well, actually, I've got another book idea that it's not necessarily Nobody Knows with Faith, but based on what I do know.
Ooh, well, you want to read that is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
She knows a lot.
Faith
I like
knows.
that she knows.
I could write a book about what I don't know.
That's
There's a lot of things
a lot of volumes right there.
for me. Yep.
Don't know a lot.
I don't know anything about that.
Trudi, you just completed a very grueling certification during the end of the pandemic. Do you want to give us a minute about that?
Sure. A hot second. Yeah, well, in the middle of this is all right. We're talking a little reinvention. At the middle of all of this, even with all the fame and glory of being on YouTube or whatever, I've struggled with my anxiety my whole life. And so I came to meditation about 4 years ago and really found the kind that works for me, which is a self-transcending technique called Vedic meditation. It's 20 minutes twice a day. And the short of it is that I went full like eat, pray, love. I went to India with my teacher. Everyone was like, you're going to have a life-changing experience. I'm like, I'm a little bit of a skeptic. I'm like, yeah, life-changing. We'll see. Life-changing. And so I came back and my teacher was like, hey, I'm going to teach people to be teachers. And so I signed up for it, not knowing what I was signing up for. This is something I like to do. I have no idea what it is. There was no curriculum. It was
Just say yes. Figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, it's a formal program. There was a lot of memorization, a lot of learning Sanskrit, a lot of stuff like that. This past week, I just finished the last test and official. My dad keeps saying, where's your piece of paper? I'm like, Dad, it's a 5,000-year-old practice and philosophy, and they don't give you a piece of paper.
They could email you a PDF, cheap asses.
I know, right?
Come on.
So, yeah. So
Whatever.
now I know how to
You go to medical school in the Philippines, they'll still email you a PDF. You get
That
something.
paper, girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Right?
I probably should
Agreed.
do that, actually. People are
Maybe
glad.
you can help them with that idea now that you're on the
Yes,
staff.
I am. Marketing.
Yes.
Here's the piece of paper that all the people who are Vedic meditation teachers should have.
Yes.
Yes.
It should be very attractive so that when you display it, it doesn't distract people from their meditation, but like
Yeah.
adds to the experience.
Possibly with a little hologram foil in the corner.
I like
Maybe,
it.
Yeah. I could get with that.
I'm doing it. So it's the kind of meditation that the Maharishi taught the Beatles. So it's 20 minutes twice a day. You close your eyes and you go to another place and it works. I have been told I'm a different person and I take that as a compliment. That's the same thing. Like you've lost a lot of weight and the implication you're like, I'm not
You
really
were
gonna-
quite fat before.
You were, yeah. Boy, were you a bitch before meditation, but now,
Hey,
hey,
Oh,
now we're
it's
in.
going to be the before. The need proof that you passed muster.
That's right.
Congratulations, Trudi, on your 2-year journey.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. That's so kind of you.
Absolutely.
Now, see, you're a poet, Faith. They don't give you like a piece of paper that says you're a poet. You just
No.
are one because you
They
write.
barely say that you're a poet. They're like, eh.
Kind of
Yeah.
a poet.
She wrote some stuff.
I have a
Like
question for Faith insofar as I immediately thought of the fact that when you say you're a poet, do people try to append slam instantly?
You know what? They try, but again, people don't mess with me because I don't care. I am what I am. And you know that's the thing. I am a poet and I know it through and through. And so you know, when I was in probably at the end of high school and into college, I was you know, they always try to tell you how to, of course, how to write. You have to know the basics of those things, yes, but there was always a way in which I love to speak and share. And so once I busted out of that mold, I was just like, you know, please please leave me be. It is what it is. So yes, people have, but the more and more I, again, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't concern me because it just doesn't. Because you know, your people are going to be your people. People who are going to relate to you are going to relate to you, and that's, you know, that's all you can do.
I feel like I got the title when I didn't deserve it. Like my high school teachers had selected my work so I could go recite at like a new works weekend. And so they wrote the local newspaper on Cape Cod wrote an article about it and said student poet to perform. I was like, am I though?
Right.
I felt really awkward about it.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
I was waiting for that certificate to arrive. Never got it.
I know. And so I just, when you start to bust out of that kind of thing that people are always telling you that you are supposed to be, it's a drag. Like, stop. I am who I am. You can either relate to it or you don't. Not everybody's gonna like you. Not everybody's gonna, you know, and so you just have to know that what you're putting out there, what you're sharing with people will hopefully relate to someone. Gary V, I love Gary V. And it's one of those things where he says, one is better than zero. You know what I mean? Like, if you can relate to one person or share with one person that changes someone's life or changes someone, listen, that's it. That's the good stuff to me anyway.
That is the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the true story.
That's a true story.
It is. That's yeah.
So one thought about this all is that you're both dealing with your own transformations, but you both help people with transformation as well. It's a tricky thing to do. People have to be ready to transform. People have to be ready to go on that journey. People have to know from what they're transforming in a way. Like, they need to know their before, but not stay mired in it. Any tips or hints on that? Any, you know, what does, you know, poet, actor, helper Faith do? What does meditation, mantra, Vedic boss Trudi do to get people to know where they started so they know where they're going without staying in it forever?
I love that question.
Me too.
And I it's because one of the things that I have always been good at is encouraging people to be who they are. And I, with Actors Ground, that's I founded that. It's an acting studio, but I'm focusing in on artists. This coming up January, I'm doing a class on artist tune-up, especially through this time that we've just been through. And one of the things that I love about actors specifically is you know, our being, our well-being, our tool, you know, our body, we are who we are. And we need to be in tune with that in order to bring that to our work in such a profound way. And so a lot of artists will struggle with just understanding that their art and their talent of what that is changes the world. And it, you know, from, you know, painting, from, you know, actors, whatever you're doing creatively helps people to move forward. And so what I love is helping actors understand their well-being and what that means for them and how to be able to bring that before you can take an audition class or before you can take even an acting class. Where are you? You know, how does that resonate with you, so that when it gets in tough times like this, you have a foundation, you know where to start from. You know, if today I need to be, you know, sleep for a day, or you know what I mean, or I need to do I need to do A, B, and C today in order to get me to here, or, you know, just helping them create their own personal foundation of how to lift off of that. So that's what if I was going to say my life's work on the side, outside of just, you know, being an actor myself, is helping people be exactly who they are. And when you see that transformation, when somebody really wants it, when somebody really wants to get from A to B, or that higher level of frequency, it's such an amazing thing to see and watch. And the humility that it takes to be able to go, you know what, I don't know where I am, where I'm going. I know I want to go over there. And I love helping people figure that out,
to move their way through it.
Yeah.
Trudi, you have an actual, you know, grown-up business where you help people write and all that, but it seems like with this passing of the cert, you could be both. You could be one or the other, or you can sort of like kind of hide the broccoli inside the cake. When I look,
broccoli inside the cake.
Yeah, hide the broccoli, baby.
Listen, you weirdos.
Yes.
There's what's zucchini bread? Zucchini bread, zucchini cake, right? So
Yeah,
you hide the broccoli inside the cake, which means you hide the vitamins and special things you need inside the part that people really want to eat. So if you think about it, by the way, I've been using that expression for 9 years. It's just funny that it was like broccoli and cake.
I did.
Your site is a pro person site. It looks like real grown-ups are involved in it.
Are there though? It's like
You know, it's a
my 15-year-old
reasonable
like,
I am not a grown-up.
Alter ego.
I'm still like a teenager who just can Google things.
So talk to me a little
Put
bit
me in
about that,
charge.
and justify and not justify, but like level set us, you know, connect this to you and Beads and gonna parte and, you know, this.
Well, listen, I mean, building on what Faith was saying, like what Faith does, she does with actors. What I do a lot with like small business owners, actually, which is like helping them find their authentic self. And that's actually the through line in, you know, through meditation, through how I work with people when I help them tell their story. You know, this whole buzzword of storytellers, everyone, you know, like so many times I talk to people like, well, I don't really have anything to say. Like, this is my accomplishments. And it's like, well, you authentically are something beyond that. So let's just talk. Let's talk about it. And so actually my superpower is I can listen. I'm like, wait, this is what you do for people. A lot of people don't see what they do for people. They see what they do for a job.
Yeah.
They don't see how they present. And then, you know, like my meditation teacher says, you know, like, don't listen to your opinion of you. Listen to my opinion of you. Now, that's also a little relational.
That's all relative.
Stuff, but it's true. It's like having, you know, you're asking, how do you help people transform? It's like, well, I listen. I listen to the part of them that needs to get out in the world. I can see how they can be helpful to people. You know, that's, you know, Chris, that's your hugest mantra ever. You're the most hopeful guy ever. And that's the truth. And it's so funny. It's like a lot of people put themselves down by not seeing where they are in the world and how they can transform other people. So it's sort of a domino effect, right? It's a paying it forward. It's like, if you can transform and be authentically yourself, and I help you I help people articulate that, right? It's like, you know, you're an accountant, you may not have the pretty words that says why people need your accounting services, but I see you bailing people out of major debt, and people need that right now.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Not like I'm a numbers cruncher and this is, you know, I
Right.
have the same client that I just made up. So, but that's, you know, that's how transformation happens, is actually to be quiet for a minute, meditation, and listen. And actually that essential part of you too has a lot to say if you just listen. You know, I had, this is like years ago before any, you know, there was any like millennials speak about like, listen to the universe. I had a very good friend who passed away who always said to me, Trudi, just listen to the universe. It won't lie to you. And that is the truth. That is the truth of what is. And I kind of live by that. And her other thing she always said is don't postpone joy. So I work hard not to do that either.
My best friend passed away like a year ago, and I just last year I was going through like the next week my books to donate some, and I had The Power of Intention. I was literally like, well, this is some bullshit. So I take it off the shelf and realized she gave it to me in like 2002 or something, and had a big inscription in it and everything. And I was like, well, damn it, now I have to read it.
Yes,
At the time, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? There are no coincidences.
no,
That's the whole point.
yes, absolutely, and I will read it.
And you will.
It's a really good prescription, though. Stop, collaborate, listen. It's very,
Listen.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen up.
it's important. It's important.
This is the Backpack Show. Song lyrics make their way into every single episode.
Has to
That's
happen.
good.
Yep.
Listen, we got to do person of the day because I've forgotten it
Yes.
sometimes, and we need to. Sponsored by FSB Associates and PubSite, pub-site.com. Linda Lepecki is a work of art. She is indeed a masterpiece. And anytime I can spend time around this smart woman who helps with smart starts, by the way, it's a great day. So Linda is entitled to an apple of the day. All you got to do is go to any store, buy an apple just like that, take it home,
Wash it really good.
wash it really good, as Kerry points out, and then it's yours to go. We have one last question always on the Backpack Show, which is probably the least important question, but I ask it to everybody, so it's important. Here's the question I have for both of you, Faith and Trudi. What goes in your backpack? So we can't really build out anything. There's no permanent ground. It is all shifting sands out there. We only have enough space to put a backpack worth of stuff on our back. You can add one item to this backpack, be it metaphorical or physical. Past favorites, Kerry, have included what?
Fearlessness and vulnerability. Or that we can get to the literal, an avocado. Horacio Garcia Rojas, the Mexican actor, had said pride, but like national pride, because he was proud that he's from Mexico City and he gets to be an actor in all these amazing productions. And yeah, those are some of my favorites.
So he did the far less popular song "Proud to Be a Mexican." It didn't go nearly over as well as "Proud to Be American." So I will start with Faith Lavon. What goes in the backpack? You were afraid I would do that.
Oh, on my face like, oh, he's gonna.
And you
ask me
can't
first.
say another backpack because that's cheating and it's been tried before.
Magician Mark Levy said another
the
backpack.
avocado is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I'm gonna say butterscotch chip cookies.
Oh.
A Ziploc bag, like a dozen. Yeah.
Is that enough?
Five-time legendary beatboxer Butterscotch, also named Butterscotch. She said a banana because it helps you with beatboxing.
Listen.
Apparently.
Yeah, I'm going with butterscotch chip cookies.
I like your cookie better.
See, because you know I won't eat them because I like chocolate in my cookies. I'm gonna get your butterscotch out my face.
You ain't tried
Waste of
these, girl.
That's why I eat black licorice, because
You have
no one
not
fights
tried
you for
these
that.
cookies.
I mean, I'll always try a cookie. I'm just saying.
Hey,
I know me, though. You know, I know me.
Trudi Roth, what is your answer to this question? What
This is
goes
a
in the
hard
backpack?
question. I would just put some David Bowie in my backpack.
Listen.
Oh.
Okay.
And that's all. I mean, it's so literal because all the music is so great. Could listen to it forever. But like, come on, like the master of transformation and creativity and weirdness and freaks. Like, just a reminder, you know?
Like freaks shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
We also work in
Oh, no.
Chris Brogan book titles into
Yeah, we
every
just
show.
do it.
Yep.
We can do it.
Yep. That was
Annette-
really well done. Really well done.
Annette says the power of the universe, serendipity, and divine timing. It is important. I agree.
Absolutely.
Oh, serendipity. I love that word. It reminds me of a story because my grandmother once got the word serendipity wrong. And instead of that,